It's the weekend and you have financial questions that need answering. That can only mean one thing. It's time for Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
Welcome to the Jill on Money Show. This is the program that takes the mystery out of your financial life. And I am Jill Schlesinger. I'm a certified financial planner. Mark Talercio is my executive producer. He is also a financial planner. And we love answering your questions. If you have one, just go to jillonmoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and you fill out a form. If you would like to join us live, then you just click that little box and Mark does everything else. Today, we are starting the program with Matt from California, in Southern California. Hey, Matt, how are you?
Hey, Jill and Mark. Thanks for having me on.
First of all, Matt woke up about 5 minutes ago. So we're going to let him kind of like get his sea legs right now. Matt, what brings you to us? What can we help you with today?
Well, my wife and I are around early 30s. We're looking to, I know better than to ask for early retirement, but we're looking to get some optionality maybe around 50 to 55.
I like that I have like basically made people afraid to say early retirement. That's great. Okay. What do you guys do now? You're like working full time?
Yes, we're both working full time.
You have kids?
We have no kids, but maybe planning for one in the next couple of years.
Okay. How much do you guys earn together?
Together, we earn about $290,000 a year.
290. Wow. That's awesome. And are you putting money away into retirement?
We both max out our 401ks at work, and we've done backdoor Roths for the past couple of years.
Are you using traditional 401ks?
Yeah, so that's part of the question is I think if we were to do this 50-55 adventure, that we would need to survive kind of off brokerage income. And so the question is whether or not to kind of stop contributing so much into 401ks and then kind of contributing more into a brokerage. Currently, my wife does have a traditional and Roth option, but we're both in all traditional.
And how much money is in the traditional environment right now and how much is in Roths?
The traditional, we have about 210. In the Roths, we have about 50 grand.
Okay. And what about brokerage accounts? Do you have anything now?
Yeah. In the brokerage, we have about 164.
Great. What do you put it in? Index funds, stocks, crypto? What's your...
They're in assorted like mutual funds, most of them index funds.
Okay. Got it. How about just plain old cash in the bank?
We have about 50 grand in cash.
Tell us about your living situation.
We own a home currently valued, I think, 1.2, 1.3 million, and we owe about 660 on the mortgage.
Is the house available for a downsize at age 50, 55? Like if you want to do this, can we tap the equity or not?
I think we could.
Okay. Why so much equity? Just is that the growth of the market or did you put money down?
So the first couple of years, we were really kind of gung-ho about trying to pay it off. And then it was just a very tall wall to climb.
It's also like you lose your liquidity.
Yeah. So we found that out pretty fast.
Yeah. Like, wow, don't need to do that. Okay. What else do I want to know? Life insurance?
We don't have life insurance yet. I was actually looking to probably get term life insurance once we had a kid. We both get life insurance right now through work. My wife significantly more so. I'm about, I think, salary for a year and a half.
And how about just a simple, what we like to call a sweetheart will? I leave you everything, you leave me everything.
We are working on that. I tried to get it done before I got on the show, but
again, I'm so glad. So here's this is where I have actually instilled some fear. One is don't come on the show without your wills, or at least well, we're starting, or we know we were coming on the show. So we had to actually go to Policy Genius. And the second being don't use the words early retirement. Increased optionality versus early retirement. Okay. So wills, you're going to get that done. That's good. So do you get any bonus or options or stock or anything through your employers?
We do get bonuses and options. I get options. My wife gets a bonus. But I think at this point, they're kind of too small to be consequential. My wife gets maybe, I don't know, maybe 15 grand a year. And then I get a couple grand a year in terms of stock options.
That's great. Well, Mark, what do you think about the game plan? We got basically, let's call it 20, you said early 30s, and I have to get you to 55. So, 20 years. What do you think, Mark?
I think it's doable, but I do, like he said when he first came on, I do think if they want to do this, they need to start probably beefing up some of the brokerage accounts. So maybe have his wife do the 401k, and I would probably do it Roth. I mean, I would do it Roth, and then maybe have Matt take what would have been his contribution and put that in the brokerage account.
Well, do you have any extra cash flow if we look at both of you maxing out 401ks, doing your backdoor Roths, is there extra every month right now or not?
Yeah, we're looking at probably close to $2,000 a month.
Do you still want to pull back, Mark, or not?
I would probably have him do it to get the match.
Okay, that's right. That's a good idea. So how do you feel about that, Matt, that we would have you drop your contribution back to get your match, or whoever has the better match, right? And then redirect the extra money plus the $2,000 a month into the brokerage and really crank on that. Because I do think, depending on kind of the pathway here, that, we're only going to have this extra cash flow, this much extra cash flow for a limited time because you're going to have a kid.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think having, again, that optionality, just being able to figure out what's the best thing to do going forward. I think that you're really going to want to have money that's already been taxed. I guess the other, like the fail safe in the back of my mind is that there's going to be a lot of equity in this house. And depending, again, whether you have one kid, maybe there's going to be a couple of kids, and what happens, we still have to get the kid up, out, graduated, and so usually people are not particularly keen on, selling their home before all that happens. But at that moment, you really may have an opportunity, to grab an extra $1 million that we're not going to count on, but that could be a real difference here.
So what I'm hearing is that I should lower my 401k to match and kind of divert as much cash as we can right now into the brokerage.
Yeah, and it's going to suck. I mean, you're going to pay more in taxes also. But, the trade-off is that options cost money. You have to divert the money into a less tax efficient environment because that's what gives you the options in the future, right? So that's the problem. And in a weird way, it's like, because I want to do this thing, it means that I have to not only save more, but I have to save more in a way that's not quite as tax efficient. But I'm willing to do that because I want to have a different life. I mean, really, you've been working for 5 minutes. What's so bad about work? I mean, do you have a terrible job or a good job? Tell us the truth.
No, we both have jobs right now. I mean, it was bad for a couple of years, I think, but we're kind of both in positions now where I think we can manage. It's not terrible.
We'll get back to more questions from you guys in just a second. It's the Jill on Money Show, taking the mystery out of your financial life, one listener at a time. We'll be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. We are trying to help you make better financial decisions. In order to do so, just send us your questions. You can go to jillonmoney.com. And while you're there, don't forget you can buy my new book. It's called The Great Money Reset. The Great Money Reset helps you turn chaos into opportunity with 10 bold steps. Just go to the website, jillonmoney.com, and you've got a lot of different places from which to choose to order your new book. Okay, right now, let's get to another question. This is from Eric, who's on the line from Florida. All right, what brings you to our airways today?
So I've been doing as many Roth conversions as I can possibly achieve, and I'm getting to a point where I'm running out of room for my bonds. And I think mathematically it makes sense to keep converting to Roth, but I'm wondering if I should stop.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us, how much money do you have in traditional? How much do you and how much do you have in Roth? And what are you earning and all that fun stuff?
Altogether in retirement savings, we have about $380,000. 233 is Roth and about 147 traditional. We earn about 140 to 145,000 a year.
And you said so you're married. How old are you guys?
I'm 39 and my wife's 33.
What's going on with your new contributions? So, 147 is in traditional, 233 is in Roth. What about your current contributions? Are they going into Roth or into traditional?
We're putting about $28,000 a year away, and it's about 50-50 Roth and traditional.
Is there any reason that you're doing it that way as opposed to just doing it all Roth?
So my wife does not have a Roth 401k available.
I got you. Okay. Is there something that is like pushing you towards doing or not doing it one way or the other? Do you have cash on hand to pay the conversion? I mean, where do you stand right now in this process?
We've only been converting what we have cash on hand to pay the tax. And it's getting to the point where my wife would have to have all of the bonds in her 401k. I think mathematically it makes sense. I'm not sure if behaviorally it does.
Mark, what do you think about this?
I have no problem doing that. That's what I do personally. I mean, I have all my bonds in my 401k and stocks everywhere else. So I know it's kind of a bit of a mental hurdle, but
right.
I got over it and haven't looked back.
Do you think that your wife could get on board with that or not so much?
Yes, she's fairly hands off of the finances.
All right. And you guys have any kids?
Yes, we have 2 kids, a 13-year-old daughter and a 7-year-old son.
So how's your cash flow on, your 145 grand a year when you're putting a lot of money into your retirement? So how's the cash flow right now?
We live comfortably.
Do you own a home?
No, we don't. We have a kind of sweet deal. We rent from my parents.
Ooh, how much is the rent?
$700 a month.
Stop it. Come on.
Welcome to Florida.
It is hard for me to say you should buy a house if it's $700 a month in rent.
We started saving a few years ago for a down payment, and it's just the prices have been running away from us.
$700 a month. Do you live with them or in a home that they own?
No, it's a separate home.
Even better. Okay. How much cash do you guys have on hand right now?
Close to $100,000 in cash, about $18,000 in a brokerage, and $53,000 that we've been saving for the house. And then we have an emergency fund that's between $30,000 and $32,000.
What about saving for college for the kids? I know Florida has an interesting plan. Are you using that state plan where I mean, it's a little bit funky because I think there's one plan where is it a prepaid tuition plan where your kids have to go to school in Florida? Are you using that one? We
initially started a Utah 529 for each child because the Florida plans were very expensive. Something happened, they reevaluated it and it came down in price and we were able to buy some tuition for the prepaid, which will transfer to other states is my understanding, but at whatever Florida charges.
I see. How much is in the 529 plans that you originally established and how much is in the Florida?
So there's not a whole lot in the 529s. There's about $5,000 for my oldest child and $2,500 or so for my youngest child. Okay. And then we've prepaid for a year of university for each child.
I'm sorry. So you prepaid for 1 year of university right now?
Yes.
For each?
Yes.
Are you going to keep doing that, you think?
So Florida has a really great program called the Bright Futures Scholarship. Yeah. And we are expecting our kids to get that scholarship if they're going to go to college. And
wait a minute. Is that the thing where it's like you have to have a B average or something and then you get something good? What do you get?
It's been a long time since I looked, but it was about 50% of your in-state tuition if you had a B. And if you could maintain all A's, I think you could get 100%.
Are they smart? I mean, listen, I don't want you to throw any of the kids under the bus, but let's do it. Are they smart enough to get this? This is an unbelievable benefit for smart kids. I feel bad if they're crappy students, but I mean, come on, this is a good deal.
They have the intelligence. They need the initiative.
Uh-oh.
So we'd like to keep them have some skin in the game.
Daddy Eric's going to crack the whip. Come on, kids, let's go. I'm sort of inclined, I just want you to know from my perspective, that 100 grand or so that's brokerage and house fund and emergency reserve, I'm just not inclined to touch it right now. Frankly, if you wanted to put some extra money away, into the brokerage account or do that, that's fine. I'm just not really psyched about you running out and buying a house when this deal is so good that it allows you to save so much money. That's the thing, that it's like, if you said, I'm renting and it's, $2,700 a month, then we start to say like, maybe you can like figure it out, but not, I don't think right now. I really don't see the benefit. Mark, do you?
$700 a month? No, I am milking that cow as long as I can.
And Mark, the Roth conversion, you want them to finish off and get rid of the 147,000 of traditional and make that Roth?
It's not a huge deal to me because it's not a terrible amount of money. I mean, it's not going to be that significant down the line. If they have the cash to do it, if they want to do it, if it's bothering them, I'm fine with it.
Me too. And if you guys can get okay with the bonds in the retirement accounts, we're okay with that too, right? I mean, you're like solidly 22% tax bracket.
Yes.
So even if you just converted, 20 grand a year for the next couple of years to stay in the 22%, I don't know, it's pretty awesome. I think you should keep doing it if the cash flow allows, and don't freak out about the house thing. If everything's cranking along, then keep adding to that brokerage account. Where's the brokerage account held?
Right now it's through Merrill Lynch because it's it's all a employee stock purchase program. I need to divest that a little bit and get it more well diversified.
Yeah, I think so. Where's the Roth and the traditional IRAs held?
Vanguard.
I've heard of it, and I would make your brokerage account a Vanguard account as well. Oh, do you have your estate planning? Do you have your life insurance? What do you got?
We have some life insurance that is group term. I do have a whole life policy that you can pick on me for.
Wait a minute. How much is the death benefit on your whole life policy?
I don't know. It was something my parents opened up in 1991, and it's like $203 a year. I just keep paying for it.
Okay. Get some details and follow up with us, because we may want to just blow that out. How much is your term life through work? What is the death benefit of that?
It's in the neighborhood of $250,000 for me and $350,000 for my wife.
Does your wife also have coverage through you or through her employer?
No, it's all through her employer. Okay.
So you guys have 250 or 350, and I would just say each of you should have $1 million. So go get 750 each. And how old's the youngest kid?
He'll be 8.
Can you get me some 20-year level term policies? Get 750 grand for you, 750 grand for your wife. Okay. Go to policygenius.com or any other online, aggregator. You're both healthy. No one smokes.
Neither of us smokes.
Okay. Go get your coverage. Get that done. What about your wills and healthcare proxies and that kind of stuff?
We have the basic kind of legal Zoom ones. We haven't gone to an estate planning attorney or anything.
I think that presumably if things are not too complicated, that should be fine. At least you have something. We'll get back to more of your questions in just a moment. The Jill on Money Show is available, even if you miss part of it, if you just go to our website after the fact, jillonmoney.com. Okay, we'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions. Okay, time for another one of your questions. Let's talk to Aaron, who's on the line from North Carolina. Tell us about what brings you to our airwaves today.
Yeah, I appreciate you taking my call. The question is more geared for my parents rather than myself.
Okay.
Mom and dad, they're 65 and 60, and dad wants to retire next year, and mom wants to be shortly behind that. They don't have a lot of money saved for retirement, and because of that, will rely pretty heavily on Social Security. There's no debt, thankfully, but they didn't really have an Auntie Jill to coach them through adulthood, so they didn't make the best financial decisions. I think it's kind of common, very much of a generation in the South, especially that just wants to pay down debt. I think they paid off their mortgage like 10 years early and then started saving for retirement. Anyway, because of this, my sisters and I feel a little guilty. We were first generation college students. So going to college was very important to them. So thankfully we had, 90% tuition covered, but they definitely covered that last bit and supported us living expenses, when we were in college. Looking back, they had no, reason to do that or no business doing it really.
Right. Like, what were you thinking? But whatever, they did it.
Exactly.
Yep.
Now we're super thankful, coming out of college debt free, put us leaps and bounds above our colleagues and whatnot. But if the time comes when they need support, my sisters and I will absolutely help them. And we want to make sure, is there anything we can do now, whether that be a long-term care insurance policy, something along those lines to make that easier in the future, or is the best thing that we can do is take care of ourselves so we can be in the position to help them if the time comes.
Okay, let's drill down some numbers here. So you said mom's 60 and dad's 65. So did you say your father, he wants to retire? How much is he earning right now?
He's earning probably around 85.
Okay. And does he put money away for retirement or not?
They do. Yeah, they put about 10% of their income in. Okay.
Okay. And mom, how much does mom earn?
Probably around 45 to 50.
And you said the house is paid for, right?
Correct.
How much is the house worth?
There's not really comparables in that area. They have a lot of property. So I'm going to guess somewhere between 400 and 500.
Okay, good. If you look at right now, the 401k account values approximately together, how much?
I'm guessing somewhere around 300. What my dad told me is when he wants to retire, he wants to have 350 in a 401k. So somewhere around 325 to 350.
Okay. Any cash that's floating around, just like a bank account or bonds or, like something safe that's floating in their lives?
Not sure the amount, but somewhere in the 30 to 40 range.
And would you say that's about it for the assets, the house, the 401ks and the savings accounts?
That's about it. They do. Grandma is living with them currently.
Oh my! How old's Grandma?
Grandma's 90. She'll be 95 this summer.
How is she? Is she in good shape?
No. It's going down past couple months. But
whose mom is it?
It's Dad's mom.
But she collects Social Security, so that's how she contributes to the household.
Absolutely, yeah. So I think she covers, groceries and it's not paying them rent, so to say, but definitely,
okay,
expenses every now and then. As kind of dark as this sounds, she does have a little bit, 80 to 100 in cash.
Will your parents inherit that or split that with somebody?
They'll inherit it.
And you said you got some siblings. Did you say 2 siblings?
Yep, 2 sisters.
The 3 of you are in good financial shape. Each of you has a good financial foundation.
We are, yep.
Great. Okay. If Dad were to retire next year or whatever, he can claim Medicare. But Mom, I don't know. If she stops working, that's not a great thing. So is she miserable at work? Like, what do you think is her? What do you think she wants to happen? I hear that Dad wants to retire, but what does Mom really want to happen?
What Mom wants, especially once my dad retires, they're going to be wanting to, go places. They do have, another asset. They have a third of a vacation property that they about 3 hours away. So they'll want to go down there a good bit. And she's able to work remotely. Oh. So in actuality, I think she will at least make it to
65.
I would hope so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that just makes more sense, right? What do you think are their expenses? If Dad stopped working in a year, would they be able to exist on Mom's salary, or do we need Dad to get to Social Security, the full retirement age of 67 or whatever it is?
Yeah, I think they can make it on 50 to 60 grand a year.
And do you happen to know what your father's Social Security benefit would be?
I want to say it's like around $2,500 a month.
Here's what I think the game plan should be. You ready?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Tell Dad to suck it up and work till his full retirement age, 67. The good news is, since he has somehow targeted 350 in his brain in terms of a 401k, you can say, I spoke to these financial people, Jill and Mark. They agree that you should be he's going to need 2 more years. I want him to get to full retirement age before he claims Social Security. He turns 67. He claims his Social Security benefit. Now, mom, of course, is going to keep working. It's a bummer for her would be a bummer for her to work so much of those 5 years, just like with him gone. So I think that him working 2 more years is good. Then for 3 years, she figures out how to shuck and jive, right? It should be easy for her to do it because, as you said, she can do a little remote work and that's fine. And it seems to me that would be a pretty good place to land. That, if she's making her $45,000 a year and he's collecting Social Security, there's your $75,000. Then you pay your tax that's due, and they're living okay. Do you have a question that's on your mind? Are you having some sort of consternation between you and a spouse about a financial matter? Do you just need another set of eyes and ears on your financial situation? Whatever is going on, Mark and I would like to help you out. We're both certified financial planners, and that means we take a pretty big holistic look at a person's life. And then hopefully we're able to look at your money as a means for you to achieve whatever goals you want to achieve. Just go to the website, jillonmoney.com, click the contact us button. All right, it's Jill on Money, and we will be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's get back to Aaron and figure out what to do with his parents. She hit 65. She claims Medicare. The question becomes, Mark, what do we do between that moment, 65, and her full retirement age? Does she take half of his and then wait to go on her own record? What do you think happens? What's the best claiming strategy?
Yeah, I'm guessing that's probably going to be the best scenario since it sounds like he was the higher wage earner. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
So what we think, and you have to check this out at Social Security, that she turns 65. She claims half of his. So instead of $2,500 a month, she's going to get $1,250 a month. She does that for 2 years. And then we see what happens at her full retirement age of 67. We see whether or not her benefit alone, whether she switches to her own benefit, it might be more, it may not be. I don't know. We have to see what Social Security says. Okay, now what's happened in between, let's call it, let's say the next 2 years, 2 to 5 years, is, I think, a couple of things. Obviously, the money from grandma is going to come in eventually. So at some point, instead of having 30 or 40,000 of savings, there's going to be 100, 150. We'll see what it is, because maybe they're going to have to spend some money on grandma, right? Now they've got, let's just presume that they've got $4,000-ish a month coming in, or 3,500 of Social Security eventually. Then they're going to have to pull money out of their 401k and start supporting themselves. Interestingly, there was an article in the New York Times about reverse mortgages by a woman named Susan Garland. What was interesting, I found, about this is that we've always been sort of scared of reverse mortgages. They tended to have a lot of fees and they're very complicated, sort of scary stuff. And even in this article, there was a nod to that, like conventional wisdom among financial planning community was like, okay, this is a last resort. You wait till you're older. But listen to this. A growing number of researchers say these loans could be a good option for people earlier in their retirement. I think this might be something to consider. it's not easy to do it on your own. But the first thing I'd love for you to do, Aaron, is for you and your siblings to just read through this article and sort of gather some information, because that could be a place where you get a little bit of flexibility. So I think that could be an opportunity to kind of make it work. The downside is, it's a process. They could find themselves in a place where, maybe it makes sense for your dad to use a reverse mortgage and wait until his Social Security benefit claiming happens at, say, at age 70. I don't know. Like, we'd have to look at the numbers, but there is an opportunity here, and it may be a good one. Do they have their estate planning done?
They do.
I'm not sure they're going to have to even help out, Mark. What do you think?
No, and I was going to say, even if the reverse mortgage, they look into it and it's not what they want to do, they still come close because they have their Social Security. And by that point, they'll have, around $400,000 in retirement. Even if they pull 2% out a year, like $8,000, it gets them close to where they need to be each year.
I think so, too. I would not go crazy with long-term care for them. I really wouldn't. It's going to be very expensive. Is Dad miserable at work? I just want to make sure I'm not consigning him to be like, oh, actually I have the worst job in the world. I work at a prison and people are horrible to me.
No. Does he love waking up and going to work every day? Probably not.
Oh, who does? Except me and Mark. Every year they work, it gets a little bit easier.
I don't think it's as dire as you might think it is. I think they're really close.
I do too. And I think the reverse mortgage might be interesting in that it might give you a little extra flexibility. That's what I do think.
And I'm glad you said that, because I was going to mention it, but I felt kind of goofy just because.
No. I'm honestly, I would never have mentioned it. So in the Times article, there is a guy who is quoted who I actually know about. I don't know him personally, but his name is Wade Pfau, and he's a super geeky number cruncher guy. I know him through the financial planning world. He has this, he's got what's the company? Here it is, retirementresearcher.com. Mark, let's put this on the resource section. Retirementresearcher.com. They've got a calculator to help you get an idea of how much a HECM, which is basically the reverse mortgage, will pay you. So I think that could be a good place for you to kind of poke around and start and read the article. Like, I started doing a little bit of a deep dive. This is how I waste hours upon hours of my weekends, because I went to him. I talked to a friend of mine. I'm like, is that the same guy that we met at this other conference? Yes, it is. Okay, great. He's the real deal. Right. So, I think that we have to all be willing to shift our, I will say I have to be willing to shift my assumptions. It's like me saying, I hate annuities, except there are some good annuities now. So I'm willing to say, yeah, no problem. It's really reasonable to say that as products or ideas start to evolve, that our thinking evolves. We can do that. So I don't want to be one of these people who's so stuck in my ways. That would make me an old fart, which I am already, but I don't want to be about these things. Aaron, do you feel okay about this?
Feel a lot better.
If you've got a financial question, we'd love to help you out. Just go to JillOnMoney.com, JillOnMoney.com, and click the Contact Us button. We'll be right back. You're back. It's Jill on Money. And before we close out the hour, we're going to answer an email. This is from Joyce, who writes, "You do such a great job on financial advice. And what I love most is that you make it so the ordinary person can understand. The no panic, common sense approach brings peace of mind. Here's a question. Do you have recommendations on determining what a person should give for charitable donations? I receive so many requests, dozens from all sorts of different organizations, Shriners, St. Jude's Hospital, Ronald McDonald House. There are so many more. I'm not rich, but I do have a comfortable retirement, and all of the requests sound like good causes, but there are so many. Well, Joyce, this is kind of a tough one. So generally speaking, if you are completely financially secure and you've got some extra money, many people just pick an amount on an annual basis, thousands of dollars, right? Others like to say a percentage of their net worth. But without knowing all the details of your financial life, I can't give you great advice. One thing to potentially consider is that if you are already retired and you're over the age of 70 and a half and you've got a retirement account, one of my favorite things to do is use a qualified charitable deduction, or a QCD. And what this can do is it can really ease up the pressure on you later in life for those required minimum distributions. The way it works is you instruct your holder of your IRA account to send money directly to a charity. This allows the money to go directly to that charity, and you avoid paying taxes on it. Now, if you're not retired, it may be that the best way for you to manage your actual charitable contributions is to give highly appreciated stock or securities. Mostly what I would encourage you to do is take a big picture look and try to have some consistency and stick to a number. Then you can divvy up the charities as you see fit. There's no right or wrong answer here. I guess that's the other part of this. So if you'd like to get back in touch with us, I'm certainly happy to help you out. Okay, that's it for the hour. So more is ahead. It's the Jill on Money Show, and we will be right back.
It's the weekend, and that can only mean one thing. You're listening to Jill on Money, the show that takes the mystery out of your finances. Here's your host, Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It is hour number 2 of the Jill on Money Show, and we are here trying to help you make better financial decisions. And that really varies on what's going on in your financial life. So in order to help you out, here's what we want you to do. We want you to go to our website, jillonmoney.com, jillonmoney.com, which I hope you've bookmarked at this point in our journey together. And on the upper right-hand part of the page, there is a Contact Us button. When you click that button, you send us your question. And, we get an email. It's all well and good. We get plenty of emails. It's great. But if you'd like to join us on the program live, there's a place on the form that allows you to check a box and say, yeah, I want to come on live with Jill and Mark. That's totally cool. So you should do that because it's a lot of fun. All right, what else is on the website? Well, there is a link to buy my book, The Great Money Reset. The Great Money Reset, Change Your Work, Change Your Wealth, Change Your Life, is available wherever you like to buy books. But we have links to every single place where you possibly could want to buy books. But, maybe you've got a local store. That's cool too. But you can check that out. The book is about how to actually make a big reset in your life and make sure that your money is the engine of that growth to make that leap to the next place. So check it out. Right now, let's get this party started. We are going to talk to Megan, who's on the line from Seattle. Hi, Megan. How are you? And what can we do for you today?
Hi, Jill and Mark. Thanks so much for having me this morning. So my question is around where to put some extra money I have each month. Mm-hmm. After bills and living, I have about $1,200 extra, and currently that's going into my company's ESPP.
Ooh.
My plan is to sell those shares immediately once the ESPP purchase is made, mm-hmm. and put the proceeds towards some upcoming house projects I have. or put it directly into a brokerage account. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Give us a little of your details. How old are you?
I'm 37,
Are you partnered, single?
single,
Okay. Kids, no kids?
no kids.
Okay, got it. How much do you earn, Megan?
My total comp is around 200. That's like a 150 base, 15% bonus, and I get about 30 to 40K in RSUs each year.
Oh, wait. So you already are accumulating the stock every year.
Yes. So the ESPP is additional.
Extra. You love your company. I mean, it's from Seattle, and so maybe it's a really good company, but that's a lot in one company. So tell us a little bit about some other aspects of this. So are you maxing out your retirement account right now?
I am. I'm maxing out a traditional 401k.
How much is in there right now?
144.
Okay, good. What other assets do you have?
I have a cash savings account with about 75,000 in it. You're not going to like this, but I do have about 100K of company stock already vested.
Love this company, girl.
And I started the brokerage account, but it only has 4K in it. At the time, I decided to divert the funds to ESPP, so hadn't started building up that brokerage yet.
So is there money already in the ESPP or not?
Yes. So they've been collecting funds over a 6-month period, and the purchase date is in June.
Approximately. I know we're not there yet, but what do you think this is worth about right now?
I'm putting about $1,200 a month. So whatever 1,200 times 6 is.
Okay. So let's say it comes up, right? And you say, okay, I can sell it. You sell that stock. It's a short-term capital gain if you've made money, right? Because it's held within a year. The company stock, the 100,000, tell me about that. Is that long-term or short-term capital gain right now? What's it, if you look at the time that you've accumulated that stock, do you know what most of it is, long or short-term capital gain?
It's long.
Okay, good. That's great.
And there is a lot of gain on it as well.
Okay. Do you know how much, just out of curiosity, about? Of the 100, do you think your cost basis is 50 or 20?
Probably more around 20.
Okay. Those are all the assets. Do you have a home? Do you rent? What do you do right now?
I own a house. It's valued at $850.
Wow.
The balance on my mortgage is $470, and my interest rate is 3.25.
Do you know that you're never leaving it? Is that okay with you?
I can't afford to leave.
Do you know what's so funny? When you talk to people about mortgages and stuff, and you realize why homes aren't turning over as much, because a lot of people are saying, well, I can't now. I really can't move. I've got this amazing low mortgage interest rate. I mean, I'll live with my house. How much work do you think you'd like to do in the house? How much do you think you have to spend on the house right now? What would you like to, I should say?
Well, I'm definitely doing the roof this year, new floors, bathroom and kitchen remodel.
In my mind, is there anything else here? Do you have any, do you have an old life insurance policy that one of your dear friends sold you and there's a bunch of money in it?
Nope. That's the whole story.
So I really think that what would be advisable, is that I would not do the ESPP. I really wouldn't. It's just, you're piling on the risk. You can have the best stock in the world, but you also want to be deliberate about the fact that I work there, I have risk in that way. But you are getting stock every year in RSUs. I don't see why we would do the ESPP. I really don't. I don't think that makes a lot of sense if you're getting that stock anyway, In terms of those RSUs that are worth 30 or 40,000, talk to me a little bit about the vesting schedule on those.
So once I get a grant, 25% vests after 1 year, and then I believe
25% per year. Okay.
Yeah, over 4 years they'll fully vest. So as those newer ones come up, I sell immediately. So I am trying to get some of those off of my plate, so to speak.
I mean, you're living life is good, right? You feeling good? You feel comfortable in your life? You're not scrimping. You're putting your money away. This is all good. Have you gotten an estimate on how much the roof, floors, kitchen, and bath would cost?
Only the roof.
How much is that?
About 15.
Is this a huge kitchen, bathroom? Are you going to do hundreds of thousands of dollars, or do you have a budget in mind for all of this?
I don't. I was trying to space them out, kind of do like one major project a year as the funds are available. So they don't need to all happen at once.
If you have someone who says, yeah, I can do the floors in your kitchen and your bath and I can get it all done, I would actually look to do it and get it done. I really would. We'll get back to Megan in just a moment. If you've got a financial question that you've been thinking about, why not just put it out there? Let us know. Go to JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button, and we'll get your note. The cool thing about doing this is that sometimes the question that you have can lead to a lot of other questions, and we can help really distill what's going on in your financial life so that you can make better choices in the future. And don't we all want to make better choices? I know you do. All you need to do is go to JillOnMoney.com, click the Contact Us button, and we'll get your note. While you're on the website, check out my new book. It's called The Great Money Reset, and it is available wherever you buy books. The Jill on Money Show. We will be right back.
Back to Jill on Money, where Jill Schlesinger helps you take the mystery out of your finances.
You're back. It's Jill on Money, and we are trying to take the mystery out of your financial life, one listener at a time. And I hope that you enjoy the advice that we provide for you. Mark and I are both certified financial planners, even though we don't do that for a living. But it does give you a sense of our more holistic approach to how we talk to all of you. Okay, now let us get back to Megan, who has got some tax liability cooking. I think you should not use the ESPP, so sell the $8,000 that's in there. You can keep selling your RSUs as they come up. I really want to encourage you to at least consider selling some of the stock and start to dribble that out. Let's just talk a little bit about the tax liability for you, okay? You're single, you make a bunch of money. But when you look at your modified adjusted gross income, because you have a mortgage deduction, because you're putting money into a traditional 401k, I think you find yourself, let's see if I got this right. I think if you looked at your bottom right-hand corner in your tax return, maybe your modified adjusted gross income would be less than $200,000. Maybe. I'm not sure because it depends on like whether the RSUs and the stock sales thrust you over. But let's say worst case scenario, you pay an 18.8% capital gains rate on the company stock that you own. I think that that's not a terrible amount to pay. I mean, at some point you have to actually, well, you don't have to, but if you want to try to use this asset, you're going to have to pay a tax on it, right? And so I wouldn't be adverse to you starting to like whittle away at that position. And frankly, it's a better position to sell even the RSUs because some of those RSUs, I mean, again, if it's subject to long-term capital gains, we'd rather have that than short-term capital gains, right? So I'm of the camp that maybe you should start to whittle down the stock position and build up that $1,200 a month amount goes into the brokerage account, build that up, make it diversified, live large. Like things are good right now, right? I think that's kind of where I'd be heading. Do you think that you're going to be earning a lot more money going forward? Are you in the kind of business where, essentially you are going to, you look ahead and you're like, oh man, I'm going to kill it. You know what I mean? Like, do you think that? Or do you think this is kind of, it's with the rate of inflation and everything, like if that's the case, then I might just try to be diligent about diversifying. If you're like, I'm going to be making $500,000 in 2 years, then you can afford to kind of push a lot more money into the brokerage account, carry the company stock. And then as you push more money into the brokerage account, the company stock becomes a smaller portion of your overall invested assets.
Right. I don't think I'll be making significantly more if I decide to leave my company, yes, I could probably see a significant bump, but I don't plan to do that anytime soon.
How do you feel about selling some of that stock, or at least like starting the process? How do you feel about it?
I feel good. It was on my mind to start whittling that down.
Okay, good. Well, then if we can whittle away, I think we should have money in the brokerage account until we do the work on the house. Okay. I think that you want to gather up the money to pay for these repairs. And let's say it takes place in 2022 and 2023. Then I think we could consider a Roth. Do you have a Roth option at work?
I do. I have only used it only a little bit.
I mean, I think we could make that decision in a couple of years. I really want you to gather up the money to do these projects. That's what I would use it for. That's why I would like to beef up the brokerage account. And again, you've got the company stock. So if the brokerage account has $4,000 in it, maybe by the end of this year, it's going to have $60,000 in it. And then, you can pay for what you need to do for this year. You maybe have a little idea about next year. And then I could conceivably have you look at the Roth 401k option. It just kind of depends a little bit on number one, cash flow, but I really want to get these repairs done before we do that. I want you to stockpile some cash to do this stuff because I'm scared that that I'm thinking, it's $100,000. And then you come back, it's actually $200,000, because of just where things are with construction. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I have no idea how much all those projects are going to cost.
I think that would be my game plan. And then I might layer into the process the Roth, which would make your tax situation a little bit less. It would make it a little bit more that you would pay taxes today. But on the other hand, Washington state doesn't have a state income tax, right? Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Most of your money is being taxed at the 24% bracket. That's kind of a good argument for a Roth. If most of your money is really in that category, yes, you might pop up for a little bit, but it's a good idea to consider the Roth after we do all this work. Okay?
Okay.
All right, good. Do you have a will?
No.
Oh, don't you hate when I ask that and you know what your answer is? Doesn't it suck for you? Because it's coming up, right?
Yes.
Do you have it through work? Little legal stuff through work?
Yeah, I probably do. As a single person, how does that differ? Needing a will versus someone who's married, has kids, etc.
Two very easy things. Number one, you have siblings?
Yes.
Okay. So generally you would, the state law, if you die without a will, the state law determines where your money goes. Now, that's not true because in your case, your 401k, you've already assigned beneficiaries. So that's where it goes, right? And probably, I don't know if they do that in your, with your RSUs, but let's say that part of it. Your house would be split among your siblings and maybe parents who are alive, depending on the estate laws. Do you know why the real reason is to do it? And it's so cheap to do, for God's sakes. It really is for someone like you. It's not even so much for the will. It's for the healthcare proxy. I mean, you have siblings. Who's going to make a decision on your behalf? Do you have a lot of siblings? Is one more willing or able or emotionally more in sync with having to make a big bad decision? I do think that's one of those weird post-COVID things that I have people get now, which is bad crap can happen. Okay. We don't know where it comes from. And I used to say I could walk across the street and get hit by the M57 bus here in New York City, and you never know. That's the more important part, Megan, is to really make sure that, if you have a will, a power of attorney, and a healthcare proxy, those are your three main documents. That kind of will navigate everything. And it's not a big deal if you have to change it later. And if you want a simple version of this, you can go online. The folks over at Policy Genius have a good estate planning module, but check at work because it sounds like you work for a big company. And oftentimes legal services come as part of your benefit package. And you may not have focused on it because you're like, I'm single. Who cares? Well, now use it. What the hell?
Great. I'll look into that. Yes.
Fantastic. All right, Megan, go forth, drink your coffee. Coffee 3.0 in Seattle now. All different. It's a whole different ball game, right?
Lots of options.
We'll get back to the program in just a moment. Now, during the break, I've got an idea of a few things that you can do. Number one, go to the website, jillonmoney.com. And the first thing you want to do is you want to bookmark it because you're going to be coming back. You know you are. And that way, whenever a financial issue comes up, you can just click the Contact Us button. Let us know if you want to come on the air, and Mark does everything else. Now, what else can you do? You can really check out all of the content that lives on the website. So we've got 2 podcasts. One is called Jill on Money. And for those of you who are not in the world of podcasts, come on, it's just like radio on demand. Jill on Money podcast, which is a daily podcast. And then we've got the Money Watch podcast, which is twice a week. And it's fun. We like those podcasts. You also can check out the blog. I usually put something new up there, maybe once or twice a week. I put something up there. We've got a resources section. You can even go and look at old videos. Who knows what you'll find. Anyway, of course, the other 2 things on the website that are of interest, we've got the free weekly newsletter, comes out every single Friday, and a link to buy the book, The Great Money Reset. Change your work, change your wealth, change your life. All that for you in one tidy, beautiful website, jillonmoney.com. So go bookmark it right now, and we'll go pay some bills, and we'll be right back.
Do I invest here? Should I put my money there? Jill Schlesinger can help you. Back to Jill on Money.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. Let's jump into another one of your financial questions. It's John from Tennessee. Welcome to the program, John. What can we do for you, sir?
Me and my wife were getting closer and closer, I think, to what you call fire, and we're trying to see if we were ready to potentially, retire early.
All right, wait a second. I want to hear about this. So did you guys really go all in on the financial independence, retire early? Are you really going to retire and travel the world, or are you going to do something else? Tell us what the plan was.
Yeah, I think it's more of a do something else, like you're saying. We've been saving really hard and, working hard and, keeping our spending in check and things like that. And I think we're ready to kind of move on and maybe do something else.
It's exciting. That's great. Okay, so tell us a little bit about what is going on when you say saving hard, which I love that term. What have you done? How much have you put away? What's in retirement? What's in non-retirement?
Okay. Well, maybe I'll start with income. We're still working. We're both 38. We are bringing in together about $185,000.
Great.
Yeah, the easy one from a debt perspective, we do still have one student loan of about $25K to pay off. Otherwise, we have no debts. The house is paid off. The cars are paid off.
Wow. How much is the house worth?
About $300,000.
And you're going to stay in that house?
That's the plan.
Okay, great. So how much do you guys need to live on?
We're about right around $50K. So Tennessee is pretty low cost of living. So we're only about a $50K.
Before you came on the air, I said to Mark, I can't believe, because we read your email, right? And so I said, oh my God, they're in their 30s. And I said, I don't know, maybe they're really going to be able to do it. He goes, well, I don't know. Maybe they live in one of those really low cost places. So that's good news that you do. Right now, let's talk about the non-retirement savings first. So what do you have saved? Either first, let's do emergency reserves and then a brokerage account.
We have cash, about $60,000 in savings. So basically trying to have about a year's worth of money there.
Perfect.
May or may not use that to pay off that student loan. That's kind of the logic there. Mm-hmm. In a brokerage account, so that's again not retirement, right about $600,000.
Wow. That's great. That's fantastic. And do you have that invested in index funds or other stuff? What's in there?
Yeah, it's predominantly a total stock market, low cost index fund.
And then on top of that 600, you also have retirement accounts?
That's right.
How much?
So all of the Roths together is $380,000. The 401ks altogether is $820,000.
Dude, you're killing it. You're killing it. No kids?
No kids.
That's why. This is a great story. Holy smokes. So what do you think happens next? I mean, obviously you're young, but when we talk about doing something different, what would different mean? What do you perceive to be the income level that you would go to if you step down, in this new endeavor universe?
I think both of us, with having, being early and where we're at, I think we would probably try to look at doing some other kind of part-time jobs that are, fun jobs, basically.
And what do you think that would pay you? I mean, do you think you could cover your $50,000 a year of basic expenses?
I think we would be pretty close. If both of us were doing part-time, I think it would be pretty close.
What's the timing of this, do you think?
Well, I'm still working this year, or at least right now. I'm front-loading. I didn't mention I have an HSA as well.
Oh, good.
So I'm front-loading an HSA in my 401k. Basically, I'm trying to knock those out before I do anything.
How about knocking that out and then you guys knock out the student loan and then you step down? What do you think about that as a game plan?
Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking too. But it's just so crazy to be thinking of, potentially, I don't know, maybe hopefully I'll live another 50 years, and it's weighing on me to figure that I can do this.
Well, I mean, first of all, can I just say you've done an incredible job. So that's number one. Number two, it's also possible that you kind of scale back and you see how it feels to maybe, get through this period where you front load some of these accounts, you pay off the student loan debt, and then maybe it's possible that you have a different approach to what work is once you're in this place. I mean, do you hate your job?
I've been with the company for 14 years, and the internal politics have been getting pretty rough. So, yeah, I'd say it's kind of getting to the point I'm ready to do something else at a minimum.
What about how you would manage healthcare costs? Because we're going to have to account for that, right? Because if you don't work, I mean, would you work part-time enough to get health insurance from another organization?
Yeah, that's why I was thinking of part-time, for that very reason. You nailed it. Yeah, otherwise I don't know. I'm thinking that we would do a bunch of Roth conversions maybe while I'm not employed maybe, and then maybe live off of those contributions or conversions. But yeah, the healthcare is going to be brutal.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I think having something where you can get some healthcare or defray some of the healthcare costs, that would be important to me. I mean, I think if you slowly convert, I say slowly convert, and you guys are, let's say you'll be in the 12%, basically, right? If you're in the 12%, you could convert staying in the 12%, or you could decide that you'd like to convert and be in the 22%. It depends how quickly. I mean, look, I don't know how long this is all going to last. I sort of feel like we're living on borrowed time with the Roth, not the account itself, but the ability to convert. If you want to try to accelerate that while you can, that's fine. If you want to do it slowly and roll the dice, it's not that big a deal, right? But it would be nice to have the amount of money in your traditional environment versus Roth be more equalized, which I think you're also considering as well. And you can pay the tax that's due. I mean, you've got the brokerage account, so you can live on some of that money. You could say, I want to be able to access this to either convert or conversely to spend some of the money. But it sounds like you're in really good shape as long as you tell me that these expenses are not going to balloon from $50,000 a year to $90,000 a year. We'll get back to John from Tennessee in just a minute. It's the Jill on Money Show. Just go to the website, jillonmoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. Maybe come join us on the air, and we will help you out. All right, it's Jill on Money, and we will be right back.
.401ks, IRAs, refinancing, she covers it all. Back to Jill on Money with Jill Schlesinger.
You're back. It's Jill on Money. And before we get back to John from Tennessee, we want to remind you that there's a lot of content that lives on our website. And that includes everything from other programs. We've got 2 other podcasts, the Jill on Money podcast and the Money Watch podcast. We've got links to both, so easy to get to those. We also have a blog. I write a lot, and that's something that I love to do. Mark creates the free weekly newsletter, which I call the pre-gaming for the weekend program. So every Friday, the weekly newsletter comes out, and Mark does a great job compiling all of the important stories from the world of financial planning, of the economy, other things that are just interesting going on in that universe. So check it out. That's the free weekly newsletter. It's free. And of course, you can buy the book, The Great Money Reset. Okay. That's all the stuff you can do at jillonmoney.com. Let's get back to John from Tennessee. Tell me about your wife. I mean, is she on board with all this? Is she feeling okay or more nervous? What's the breakdown between the two of you?
Yeah, you're kind of my tiebreaker in that regard. So she's more nervous about this, and so I have been looking for additional advice to kind of say, yeah, we're ready for this or not.
First of all, I want to just say this, that I very rarely go against the wife. I want to be clear. I really don't. I don't like to do it. It's like we have a sisterhood. We are connected. Okay. That said, I think that you guys are in good shape. It would be both of you doing this. In other words, if she were to feel nervous, would she keep working and you could step away? Is that a possibility?
I think that's exactly what's probably going to happen.
Okay.
I was going to say, if she keeps working, does she keep getting health care?
Yes, she would.
Oh, I mean, listen, if this is going to work, you have to both be on board with it. Okay. So she has to be on board with you saying, okay, if you don't want to work, babe, I love you. Keep working and we'll get our health care. And that's great. I am going to pull back. If that's going to annoy the crap out of her, that's one thing. But if she's really like, you know what, I just don't feel comfortable doing it, or I don't dislike what I'm doing enough to step away, then that's okay too. It shouldn't prevent you from doing that. In some respects, all that you have done in this, forgetting about calling it fire or fine or anything else, let's just say that you guys, with your extreme saving, have bought yourself opportunities. And that's an amazing place to be. Those opportunities that you are about to cash in on do not have to be for both of you equally at the exact same time. You may be a better spouse if you are not working hard and feeling crappy about it, right? And she may be a happier spouse not fully leaving where she is right now or yet, because it makes her feel more comfortable. So I would be a little bit more suspect of like, we got to do this together and we got to do it all at once. Like, you could see how it goes. And maybe if you finish at the end of this year and you take a step back and you start the process, maybe that's a good way to dip your toes in the water. Maybe that's a great way for you guys to say, all right, let's see how it goes. And maybe you're going to be like, ugh, I don't actually like this. or maybe she's going to say, this is great. We're in good shape. I love having you at home doing all the crap that I don't want to do. Now I can just go off and do my thing. So what's her income alone?
65K. So I'm right about 120.
So it's sort of interesting to me because what you could really do in this process is if you got rid of your income, all that we would be saying is we get the health care from her. We basically pay most of the expenses and you would get a part-time job to cover whatever her salary doesn't, but you would no longer be saving. And that's really the big issue, that you would no longer be in this extreme saving position. She might put a few bucks in her retirement account. That's fine. That might be a more prudent game plan from my perspective, just to see how it goes.
It's just amazing because this is such an example of what can be accomplished. Because did you guys inherit anything, or is this all based on your saving?
Saving.
Yeah. And look at the salaries. They're not huge salaries. It's just amazing what people can accomplish.
When you live in Tennessee, and you make a bunch of money and you are saving, this is what it can be. The thing that's really fascinating to me is that it sounds like you're kind of tired of the extreme saving. It's hard to do it.
It is.
Do you have any regrets right now about living this way?
No, I don't think so. I live a pretty simple life and I enjoy it. I don't regret anything. just kind of burned out, just like everybody else, I think.
Yeah. But I mean, it's one thing to be burned out and feel like, you have no choice. Burned out and with options, that's pretty amazing. Quick other things. You guys have wills and powers of attorney and stuff like that?
I told my wife that we have to have that done before I leave.
That's very good. So you've done extreme saving, but not extreme estate planning. It doesn't have to be extreme. Hey, listen, John, you're in fantastic shape. Keep in touch with us. Let us know how it goes. Tell your wife to keep working. It sounds like you're in really, really a fine place. See, get it? Fine. Financial endeavor, financial independence, new endeavor, next endeavor, whatever it is. You're in great shape. So congratulations and enjoy it. So let us know how it goes, okay?
Will do. I really appreciate it.
If you have a financial question, we'd love to hear from you. All you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com. JillOnMoney.com. Click the Contact Us button. While you're on the website, check out my new book. It's called The Great Money Reset, and it is available wherever you buy books. Stay tuned. There's more Jill on Money just around the corner. You're back. It's Jill on Money. And before we end the program, I'd like to cover a question that I receive so often, and it is this. When we talk about setting aside cash in an emergency reserve fund, many of you get confused. You want to know, are we talking about actual green money or are we talking about something else? So I should be more precise about this. When we talk about an emergency reserve fund, we are talking about an account that is liquid and accessible. Meaning, is it a savings account, a checking account, a money market account? It could be a short-term treasury. It could be CDs. And the only thing that we just remind you is that when you have a longer-term CD, just be careful because there is often a fee or you lose some interest if you bust out of that CD early, but it's usually not that much. So one way that you can look for different options for your cash accounts is at depositaccounts.com or bankrate.com. These are aggregation services. So they list out where the highest earning interest savings, money market, CDs, high yield CDs. And, you'll find that generally the online institutions are paying higher interest rates than some of the big banks that have to finance all that brick and mortar costs. So check it out. You can do better. And boy, interest rates are higher now than they have been for quite some time. So make sure that emergency reserve fund is earning a few extra shekels. Well, okay, that is it. That is the program. So here are some reminders. If you'd like to get in touch with us, all you need to do is go to our website, JillOnMoney.com, and you can click the Contact Us button. We'll get your note. If you're shy, we'll just do it as an email. If you want to come on the program, just click that little box that says you'd be willing to join us live. While you're on the website, 2 things to do. Let's start with free. You can sign up for our free weekly newsletter. Do that right on the JillOnMoney.com website. The other thing you can do is order my new book, The Great Money Reset, and I promise you it will be well worth it. Check it out. Okay, our music is composed by Joel Goodman. Mark Talercio is our executive producer. Lift someone up today. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week.